Hello and welcome to BBC London. Coming up this Monday evening. Twice as likely to reoffend, we hear how an increasing number of ex-prisoners are homeless and living on the capital streets.
There is an influx of people who have been released from prison, and some of them released too early. If someone leaves prison and doesn't have a safe space to go to, what are you expecting them to do?
If they don't have somewhere to stay, they will reoffend, and that is the ongoing cycle we've got to stop.
We have a special report for you, also tonight.
I was shocked in what I'm seeing in myself. Is that true, or is it like a movie?
We speak to a stallholder who saw the moment customers were attacked by a man with a knife at a South London market. Plus, a tribute to the fallen on Armistice Day. One of the capital's most famous landmarks, the Tower of London, puts on a special display of remembrance. And we meet the girls from Havering who will be performing live to the nation as part of the Children in Need choir. Good evening to you and thanks very much for joining us. We start tonight with a special report on how an increasing number of former prisoners, including those let out under the government's early release scheme, are being found homeless and living on the capital streets. Figures show that without somewhere stable to live, they are twice as likely to reoffend and end up back in prison. Outreach workers say more timely support and housing is needed to stop the cycle. Here's Frankie McCamley.
This is one of the West End's busiest high streets, pulling in shoppers from around the world. But when night falls, it takes on a different role. Homeless people line the streets everywhere you look.
We've got tents, we've got jackets, we've got sanitary towels, we've got bottles of water.
And a windproof sleeping bag.
Baral and his team are out every month with supplies.
Go in there, it actually has a mat underneath, so it stops them from getting hypothermia.
With record numbers sleeping rough in the capital, the volunteers use bikes to reach as many as they can. Increasingly, they're helping prisoners released early.
There is an influx of people who have been released from prison, and some of them released too early. If someone leaves prison and doesn't have a safe space to go to, what are you expecting them to do? This whole situation of dealing with one part of the problem but not dealing with the support mechanism afterwards doesn't make any sense to me.
This man was jailed for nearly 4 years for driving offences. He was released early and now spends many nights on the streets.
You weren't given much notice. Usually go through management, but we weren't given a chance to find a hostel. So I had to give a relative's address, but they've got no room for me.
Are you happy you left prison early?
No, that's being honest. There was a structure in prison. There's no structure out here. You know when you're going to eat. Now I'm lost. I don't actually know what to do. It's hard for people like me.
I mean, some would say that there are young children, there are families, there are mothers, people that haven't been to prison that are on waiting lists.
Yeah, I do feel like we should be a priority too, you know, just as well as mothers. The people that want to change and want to help, they're the people that will benefit from being housed.
Around 300 prisoners in London have been let out early so far, but it's those who end up here who are much more likely to reoffend and end up back inside.
You can be up and down.
As the city wakes up, we meet one rough sleeper who's seen reoffending firsthand.
Yeah, I've seen people shoplifting, you know, to survive. You know, and it's ridiculous. Because if you put a person out on the street that's come out of prison, what's the likelihood of them reoffending is going to be very high. Because that's all they know.
We've come back to this area in the daytime to see if we can try to get some people to speak, but nobody wants to appear on camera. And just in this alleyway alone, 2 people have told me that they've recently been released from prison, and they say that there are many more in the same situation as them. They say with no support and now on the streets.
Hello, morning.
At an opening of a new kitchen training facility for serving and former prisoners in South London, the Minister for Prisons insists everyone who is released should have a place to stay.
We have enough places for people to go into when they leave prison, but a lot of these people live very chaotic lives, and they aren't staying in the accommodation that's been provided. So we are working really closely with local authorities and other colleagues to make sure we really support people when they do leave prison.
But I've spoken to people and they've said they've been promised accommodation, and everywhere they turn the answer is no, we have nothing available for you. They then try a hostel, no, there's no space.
And they have enough accommodation, but one of the problems is, I met a man one of the people on probation who came back, he was banned from every hostel. So what do we do with people like that as well? Because they need somewhere to stay. If they don't have somewhere to stay, they will reoffend. And that is the ongoing cycle we've got to stop.
Others, though, say it's failure at the top.
One of the issues I raised with the Deputy Prime Minister when we recently met was the issue of government departments not speaking to each other. So, for example, prisons will release somebody without them having their benefits sorted out, without having accommodation sorted out. That person can very soon become a rough sleeper.
And with figures showing homeless prison leavers are twice as likely to reoffend than those with accommodation, there are calls for more to be done to stop scenes like this becoming the norm. Frankie McCamley, BBC London.
Well, we know the lack of affordable homes is a big issue for the capital, and that was something, as we know, the Mayor of London there talked about in a speech today, saying it's having a profound and devastating effect in every corner of the capital. Our political editor, Tim Donovan, was watching. So, Tim, just tell us more about what Sadiq Khan was saying.
Well, Riz, the Mayor says he's had a good record in terms of delivering affordable homes. He says he's met the key target the government set him, which was to start work on 116,000 affordable homes in his first 2 terms. He's focusing very much on new council homes, so homes with subsidised rent of a third of market rents, if you like. And the number of those is going up, albeit from a low base, is going up year on year. But critics will argue that overall, in his 8 years, he didn't complete as many affordable homes as his predecessor Boris Johnson. And in the last couple of years, there have been difficulties getting affordable homes off the ground, getting started, because, he says, of the severe economic conditions, rising energy and construction costs and so on. But today he was literally underlining the extent of the problem, again, knowing and saying that solutions were still an issue, but pointing out how affordability, or the lack of affordability, has economic costs.
Just a 1% decrease in house prices could boost London's economic output by £7.3 billion over a decade. In short, investment in building homes people can afford will lead to the growth we need.
He says, the Mayor says, that he is continuing to make the case for public investment, but there's been a real shift in what he's saying and how he's saying it, the tone. He used to berate the Conservative government for failing to provide enough investment for affordable homes, albeit they have given him £8.9 billion until 2026 to provide new affordable homes. He is not saying things in those terms anymore. Now there is a Labour government, and indeed it's quite hard to pin him down. I asked him 3 times today to say how much investment was needed in affordable homes and how much he was asking the government for. And it is clear that since Labour's election, that perhaps the Mayor's expectations have had to be somewhat adjusted given the public finances. And it took Riz almost a moment of honesty, or was that clarity, from a Deputy Mayor of the Mayor, Deputy Mayor for Planning, Jules Pipe, at the same conference around the corner here in the city, who said he would find it really difficult to believe that the government could build 1.5 million new homes over the next five years. That would be 400,000 new homes in London over the next 5 years, just kind of again illustrating just how intractable this problem is.
OK, for now, Tim, many thanks. That's our political editor, Tim Donovan. You're watching BBC London. Plenty more to come for you before 7, including...
On Armistice Day, I'm here at the Tower of London to see this dazzling light and sound installation to remember those who were killed in the First and Second World Wars.
Two separate murder investigations have begun in South London after one man was shot dead and one was fatally stabbed within half an hour of each other. 4 other people were injured in the incidents over the weekend. Our reporter Lee Milner has more details.
Described by stallholders as a normal market day, this street was packed full of shoppers when 3 people were suddenly stabbed in broad daylight yesterday. 2 were rushed to hospital, while the third, a man, died at the scene. A man in his 60s has been arrested.
We had a few customers on my stall. They was buying the fruit for the family, and the guy was shouting out with a big knife. He was doing like this, and some people, they run away. They could manage it. That 2 customers we had at the front of my stall, they couldn't see it at the back, and then just stabbed it hardly and shouting out. So, and then they fell down on the floor. So everybody run away. So I was shocking what I'm seeing in myself. Is that true, or is it like a movie? So like really shocking.
Well, as you can see behind me, there's still a police cordon in place. Everything has been left exactly how it was. The stalls are still there. There's fruit on the ground. And that pallet behind me is allegedly where stall holders had to tackle the man to the ground. They told me today that they've been left devastated and shocked by what's happened.
Just 40 minutes before this attack, police were called to Sydenham in South London after a man was shot dead and 2 others injured. It happened here near Wells Park Road just after 10 o'clock yesterday morning. No arrests have been made.
It's very bad. I'm worried about, because my son is 8.5 years old, so really it's very bad. We don't know what's going on.
Police have described yesterday's shootings as a senseless act of violence. In just one day, 2 men lost their lives. Now, 2 communities have to pick up the pieces of the devastation left behind. Lee Milner, BBC London.
OK, let's take a look now at some of the day's other news. A music teacher has been sentenced to 12 years in prison for a series of child sex offences over 40 years. David Pickthall's crimes were committed between 1980 and 2021 at Brentwood in Essex and East London. He was made an MBE in 2015 for his services to education and charity. Police believe there may be many more victims. Drivers using the Dartford crossing were wrongly handed fines totalling more than £4 million in the last year. Figures obtained by the PA News Agency show that National Highways cancelled more than 59,000 penalty charge notices in that time. That's up from around 3,500 the previous year. National Highways has apologised and urged affected drivers to get in touch. The former British Army soldier Daniel Khalif has pleaded guilty to escaping from Wandsworth Prison last year. He'd originally pleaded not guilty to the charge and is in the middle of giving evidence at his trial. He's also accused of passing secret information to agents of Iran and perpetrating a bomb hoax. He denies all other charges. And work has started on the creation of new 100-hectare woodland near the site of the proposed Lower Thames crossing. Local communities were invited along to plant trees over the weekend at Hole Farm near Brentwood, which is at the northern end of the route linking Essex to Kent via a tunnel under the Thames. The new woodland is due to open to the public next year. Now, as we've been hearing, commemorations have been held across the UK to mark Armistice Day. And Londoners joined the nation in pausing for a 2-minute silence at 11 a.m. It's a poignant day as we remember those who've lost their lives in the 2 world wars and in conflicts past and present. One of London's most famous landmarks is paying tribute in a very special way. And Alpa Patel is there for us and can tell us more. Over to you, Alpa.
Hi Riz, and welcome to the Tower of London. And isn't it spectacular? It feels, as you say, particularly poignant to be here today on Armistice Day, a powerful day for people who are visiting this attraction and looking at the spectacular poppies that are lit up all around the Tower of London. There has been gasps, people of all ages enjoying and admiring this installation. It includes falling poppies on the walls, documents, silhouettes of soldiers, and a roll of honour dedicated to those who were killed in the 2 world wars. It is called Poppy Fields at the Tower, and it is a ticketed event, so it costs about almost £20 for an adult and £12.50 for a child. We've been speaking to the artist behind this installation and a historian to talk about why this installation and the location work so well together.
The poppies behind us is really a way of placing us back in the First World War. It allows us to walk in the footsteps, as it were, of the soldiers. As they walk through, we can take people on an immersive journey through remembrance, but also on very personal reflection.
The Tower of London has been an important royal fortress for almost 1,000 years, and it especially came to the fore during the First and Second World Wars, when it was a place of recruitment, a place where soldiers were trained. Thousands of soldiers were stationed here as well.
Well, as you might be hearing, there's piano music, birdsong, making this place such a peaceful place to be, particularly poignant on Armistice Day. So many of us have been marking the 2-minute silence held at 11 o'clock this morning. Here's how some of you marked that silence. Well, as people come through the gates enjoying this magnificent installation, as I say, it is a ticketed event, but it is on until Saturday. If you haven't, or if you're not able to make it, I hope you are, we have given you a sense of what it is like to be here on this special day.
Powerful and poignant, as you say, Alpa. Many thanks. Still to come before the end of the programme. A big moment. We meet the girls from Havering who will be performing live to the nation as part of the Children in Need Choir. Before that, though, marking a milestone. The UK's largest flower market is celebrating 50 years of trading in South London because New Covent Garden Market moved out of central London to Nine Elms in the 70s. Reporter Alice Hopkins has been finding out what the market means to the capital and what's being done to ensure its future.
Brand new, its 68 acres includes spiral staircases, closed circuit.
50 years ago, New Covent Garden Market opened its doors as market traders moved their stalls from London's West End to here in Battersea. There's people still working here today that remember that move 5 decades ago.
I started photographing Covent Garden Market in 1968. There was the hustle, the bustle, the barrows going back and forth, the shouting going back and forth, the salesmen always standing at their display, rocking on their heels and smoking cigars. And the smoke was going up into the sun, and it was just, I thought, wow, this is extraordinary, we've got to do this. It wasn't until about the last week did it really begin to hit everybody that this life was coming to an end. And although the market was going to transfer to New Covent Garden, Nine Elms, it was clear that it wasn't going to be the same place.
The old Covent Garden Market closed in 1974 on a Friday. Traders were here in the new market on the Monday. David is a market trader here who Clive has known since he was a young boy.
Now you're a granddad, and here was when I photographed you as a 10-year-old.
That's right, 53 years ago.
The market supplies fruit and vegetables to London institutions, ranging from Claridge's to the animals of London Zoo. And the flower market is highly regarded by the best florists in the business.
In January, this place is filled with the fragrance of spring flowers, and now here we are, nearly Christmas, and it's filled with pine and sparkle and bulbs and beauty. If you want to get a flower, this is the best place in the world, not just London.
Whilst we're marking 50 years of New Covent Garden Market, by 2027, they'll have moved to an updated site nearby.
As we knock down a building, people are moving and we're putting them into new locations. So what we're trying to do is to create a more interesting market with better facilities for our tenants.
So with one eye on the future and one eye on the past, here at New Covent Garden Market, it's a day for celebration.
Cheers.
Alice Hopkins, BBC London.
Right, not long now before the big BBC Children in Need night at the end of the week. Well, a key moment in this Friday's fundraising show will be the Children in Need Choir. For the first time ever, it'll feature children from all across the UK who've been supported by Pudsy's projects. That includes two sisters from Havering who are members of performing arts charity The Habit Factory. Well, Wendy's been to see them rehearsing and she had an extra little surprise for them, as you'll see.
These two sisters have come a long way since we last saw them. We met Anya and Amira in Havering, East London last year. They joined the Habit Factory, an inclusive performing arts group part funded by BBC Children in Need. Their mother's cancer diagnosis and treatment had had a devastating effect on the girls.
Add 5
equals 14.
Yes.
This theatre group gave them back their confidence.
Can you tell me about one of your shows that you've done with Habit Factory?
One time I was a teddy bear and another time I was a dinosaur.
Well, now they've been chosen to represent London in a BBC Children in Need choir, singing live to the nation on TV.
I thought it was such a wonderful opportunity for the girls and for me, because every day you wake up you think, oh God, thank you for giving me another day, and to see them on stage doing such a wonderful thing and for such a wonderful cause was amazing. It's a dream come true.
There will be children from across the nations and regions with them. Rehearsals have been online.
Get the lights shining in your eyes. Out this way. Amira, that's lovely.
A little help from their Habit Factory friends. And before the choir gets together for real in the big fundraising show on Friday the 15th, there's some serious practice happening.
It's like our alarm when we wake up for school. Mummy plays the music on full speaker every morning, and then that's how we remember the lyrics and learn the songs.
It's a good way of doing it, Mum.
Now, we heard the girls were Strictly fans, so one more surprise for them.
Anton Dubek here. Now, I've heard all about your acting and your singing on stage at the Habit Factory in London.
A personal message of good luck from one of the judges.
And I have to tell you, it's definitely a 10 from me. I can't wait to see it. Lots of love.
Never forget where you're coming from.
And nor can their friends at the Habit Factory.
I think it's a really big moment for them, obviously, and a massive opportunity for them. A huge opportunity for the Habit Factory to showcase what we've been able to support, and like the whole community is just right behind them as well. We've organised like a viewing party for it, which is going to be really, really exciting, really, really fun, where everybody's just so desperate to see the girls.
Someday, this will all be someone else's dream.
Wendy Hurrell, BBC London.
Oh, so inspiring. And you can show your support for BBC Children in Need. You can donate any amount online at bbc.co.uk/Pudsey, or you can see it there. You can scan the QR code that's on your screen. Children in Need Night is this Friday evening from 7 p.m. here on BBC One and on iPlayer, of course. Now, ahead of that, our amazing BBC Radio London swim team have completed their part of the 1,000-mile challenge with their final laps at the Aquatic Centre on Friday. I was there. Well, one of the team, Kate Kinsella, has got the weather for us. But first of all, have you recovered? And what an incredible picture.
Thank you very much. This is us at the Aquatic Centre in Stratford on Friday. I've almost recovered, still very tired, still got some achy armpits. I'm just going to refer to some notes on my hand. We in total swam 38,625 metres. That's 1,545 lengths between us. And across England, the local radio teams that also did this challenge, between us, we raised over £135,000, which is incredible. So thank you for everybody who donated. Now, onto the weather. I'm keeping with the swimming theme, however, today with my Weather Watchers pictures. I have this one. This started off in Herne Hill first thing this morning. You can see at last a little bit of sunshine. It's been so gloomy the last couple of weeks. A little bit of blue sky, but that high cloud, that was through this morning. So hazy sunshine and the Aquatic Centre here in Stratford. But then that cloud cleared and we've had clear blue sky ever since. Now, earlier on today, this was the cloud coming in from the north. Now, through the afternoon, that's when it started to evaporate. We got the clear skies and all that sunshine, and temperatures today actually got up to around 14, 15 Celsius. Now, this evening, we're starting off on a clear note, but the wind, you'll notice, is just starting to strengthen. That's going to start to come in from the north, the northeast, and bring with it some cloud. The breeze helps prevent any mist and fog. There's a small chance for northern parts of Kent, maybe in small parts of Essex, you might get a shower, but most places dry. Minimum temperature quite chilly, you'll notice, just 2 Celsius, so a cold start tomorrow morning. Bit of a shock to the system, but that high pressure, you can see, stays in charge. But around the outside, that's the breeze. So as we head into Tuesday, it is going to feel a bit breezier. We've still got that cloud coming in from the northeast, with that a few showers coming in too, but largely towards the south, the eastern parts of Essex. Temperatures around 12 Celsius, so a chillier day tomorrow. Then as we head overnight, Tuesday into Wednesday, still with the clouds, still with the breeze, but some clearer spells as we head into Wednesday morning. Chance of a shower just picking up through the early hours, minimum temperature between 4 and 7 Celsius. Now, as we head into Wednesday, high pressure still there, but you'll notice over here this cold front, which just moves down across the east. And that is going to introduce some colder air still. Now, we've got a sunny day largely on Wednesday, lots of sunshine, but it is going to start to feel colder, not only during the daytime, but overnight as well as we head towards the end of the week. Riz?
Oh, Kate, thanks ever so much. And that is where we leave you on this Armistice Day, commemorating the end of World War I and those who've lost their lives in conflicts past and present. And if you want to watch the first official Remembrance Sunday in 1946, it's on our Instagram and the BBC London website. From all of us here, thanks for being with us this Monday evening, and do take care. Bye-bye.